Hi there, and welcome to Let's Slow Down, a podcast for all of you who feel tired and stressed from this overwhelming world. Here we'll have fun, inspiring conversations about living life on our own terms and explore ways to ease the pace of our modern world, because life really is good when you're relaxed enough to be present for it. I'm your host, Anne-Marie Stolting, and I welcome you to this space where I hope to inspire you to slow down, because life is too short to let it go by in a blur. So take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Slow Down podcast. Today, I would like to talk about 4 things I don't miss since decluttering my home. For the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about decluttering here on the podcast. It has made such a huge impact on my life, on my well-being, on my bank account, on lots of things. I've been on my decluttering journey personally for, I guess it's about a decade now. We had been moving homes, got rid of a lot of things before we sold our old house. We've been in the new house for almost 10 years. And it's been a process. It's been growing and evolving over the years. And what a decluttered home looks like to me has changed. But really now I consider myself a minimalist. And if you walked into my home, you might think, what is she talking about? They still have a lot of stuff. There are still areas of my home, especially my garage and some of my basement, that still feels too cluttered for me, that we will get to eventually. But really, it boils down to a couple of principles, and it certainly looks different for everyone. I think that there's like the same fundamental principles of decluttering and minimalism at the heart of all of it. And I love Joshua Becker's definition. If you're not familiar with Joshua Becker, he is a huge thought leader in this space. I have read his books. I have done his uncluttered course, which is really interesting and shares so many different people's stories from all walks of life, how decluttering and minimalism has really benefited their life. Joshua describes or defines minimalism as intentionally promoting the things that we most value and removing everything that distracts us from it. And he's quick to say that minimalism isn't about subtracting joy from life. It's about adding purpose and meaning, however that looks for you individually. So I think that's important to mention, because people think decluttering, people hear minimalism, and they picture this like stark, bare room with nothing in it. Everything's white. There's no pictures on the walls. There is someone wearing the same outfit every single day, kind of a thing. So it could mean that. And for some people, it does mean that. But it's not what it means to me. And I'll talk a little bit more about that today. But as I was thinking about this decluttering process and removing things that aren't serving me anymore, I realized that there are a few things that I really, really don't miss at all. And they're things that I used to do a lot, and they used to be a big part of my life. So I thought I would talk about those today and just share my experience. The first one is all the time and money that I spent shopping. And it's funny because I never really considered myself a shopper, but it's those little pop-ins to stores like Home Goods and Marshalls and Home Depot that really add up. And I used to frequent those places a lot more. Once you step into a store like that, you are completely bombarded, swallowed up by all of the messages and all the marketing and all the things. Those stores have so much stuff in them. The pillows, the mirrors, the paintings and the things for your walls and blankets and bedding, that all of a sudden you have this overwhelming urge to buy, and you feel like you need all of it, and you feel like your home is just awful and you need to just get all new. I could easily lose an hour or two in a store like that browsing. And while it can be fun, and I still pop in there from time to time, honestly, now I feel like it's more stressful than anything, because I leave feeling like my home's not good enough and like I need all of these things to make it better. So when I look at it that way, that trip, that little shopping trip browsing, isn't doing me any favors. I would step into a Home Goods and constantly think that I needed to update and buy little things for each season, especially now as spring is almost here, it's coming. We just changed the clock, so I feel like we're getting a little bit closer. I would feel like, oh, new season, I have to do a complete overhaul of my home and change, have all the pastel colors and all the springy things. And it's just not the case anymore. I don't feel that way. I actually really don't miss those feelings. Those feelings were heavy and stressful to me, not to mention expensive. So anyway, I still had some winter things up in my house, and I was having friends over on Saturday, just this past weekend. So I wanted to take down some of the wintry stuff, just a couple things on the wall, a couple things on the mantle, put them away in the attic. And I took out a few springier pictures and things to just spruce up my home. And I stumbled on these two canvases that my girls painted a few years ago, I think actually during COVID. And they are St. Patrick's Day themed. One was like a cute little leprechaun my daughter painted when she was little, and the other is a rainbow and a pot of gold. And they're bright and cheery, and St. Patrick's Day is next week. So I pulled those down and put them on the mantle. And my family room looks so cute. It looks clean and festive in that room now. And it feels like a little touch of spring and a little bit of, St. Patrick's Day, a little seasonal touch, especially since I have a very decluttered family room now. My mantle doesn't have a lot on it. These two pictures really pop and they stand out. And if the mantle had been super cluttered and there was a ton of stuff on there already, to be honest, I don't think I'd even notice if I added these two paintings. My point is, you don't need a lot of seasonal decor to make your house and your home feel like it's, ready for a new season. It can be a few little things, and those things do make a bigger impact when there's not so much other clutter around it. I do feel as I've been reflecting that I have saved so much time and money and stress from all that shopping that I used to do. And I do genuinely feel I just feel better in my home. I feel like I appreciate it more. And I really like the things I've really curated, things that I've kept. I really do love very much. So the things that I have are meaningful. They make me happy and they bring joy to me and my family. So these things really do make a difference. And they do, as Joshua Becker was saying, they add joy and they add purpose and meaning to our home and to our world. So that's the first thing. I wish I could go back and kind of calculate how much time and money. I bet you the numbers would be pretty high. It's kind of scary, actually. So that's been huge for me, huge benefit. And another benefit of decluttering and becoming more minimal is just not spending endless time cleaning and organizing. This is another one. If I could add up all this time that I've saved with less stuff, there's just less to clean and maintain. There's less to constantly shuffle around. It frees up time for things that truly matter. And with less clutter, I save so much time and stress over keeping my house clean and tidy. As I said, we had friends over the other night, and it didn't take long to feel like the house was ready for company. It made the whole experience more enjoyable, much less stressful. We could spend a little bit of time just figuring out the food that we were putting out and just, running the vacuum and things like that. But again, it was easy to do because running the vacuum is now a fairly simple process since we don't have stuff all over the floor. Honestly, our two dogs are the biggest culprits because they leave their little toys everywhere. But quickly picking those up, throw them in their little toy box, and it's easy to run the vacuum. There's not stuff everywhere that needs to be put away first. So it makes cleaning the home, keeping the home more tidy, it just makes it a lot easier. And it helps us lean into things that are important to us. Connecting with each other, with our family, with our friends. Having people over isn't so stressful because there was a time where it might take me half a day to feel like I had my home ready for people to come over. And I'm not saying that, everything has to be picture perfect when I have a friend over, but just feeling proud of my home and my space and feeling like it is just put together and cleaned up. So all of this has become so much more simple. And it's just become a lot easier to maintain my home. I used to find that a really, really, really stressful thing in my life. Along the same lines, a third thing that I really don't miss is the stress and the decision fatigue. So having a tidy, decluttered home really, it just reduces the decisions that we're making every day. Fewer clothes to choose from, fewer gadgets to dig through, especially for me in the kitchen. fewer items to keep track of. All of that equals more mental clarity and ease in my daily life. There are so many decisions. I think we make like hundreds, maybe even thousands of small decisions every single day. What to wear, what to cook, where to put our keys, or where did we put our keys? We can't find them, which emails to answer first. When our home is cluttered, these decisions just multiply exponentially. The more choices we have, the more mentally exhausting even the simple tasks become. It's that mental clutter. I've talked about that a lot here, and we oftentimes think of the physical stuff, the physical clutter when we talk about decluttering, but there is such a psychological component. It's huge, and that mental clutter is really big. So it can be very heavy and really weigh you down. I know it does for me. So a few ways that decluttering has helped decision fatigue in my life, reducing it, is, in streamlining my wardrobe. I kind of have, it's a little bit more of a capsule wardrobe. I really do have just less outfits in general. I've talked about Project 333 that Courtney Carver invented, and that has been huge. I don't do it exactly. I have a little bit more than 33 items, but I keep it really pared down, and I find that to be such a stress reliever. Fewer outfit decisions each morning. Usually I'll get mine set the night before, but it reduces stress and wasted time. When you're starting with a packed closet, sometimes you feel like you have nothing to wear because there's just so much. This process has also made me appreciate the clothes that I have. Everything's easier to find. And since I only keep clothes that I love, that I feel like fit me well and I feel good in, it's easier to put outfits together and feel more confident. Another great source of inspiration for me lately has been the millennial minimalists. I've been listening to them. They have a podcast. There's two of them, but the one girl, Lauren, has a closet course. I'm thinking of taking it down the road just to learn from her a little bit. But she swears by making 20 outfits for a season. The way she talks about doing that is to go through your clothes, to go through your closet, and literally put 20 outfits together, put them on. Take a picture of yourself in the outfit and keep that album on your phone. And this way, when you're trying to figure out what to wear, when you feel that dread, like, oh my gosh, I have nothing to wear, as you look at a closet full of clothes, you can just quickly pull out your little album on your phone and remember that, oh, here's like 20 outfits I have that I can wear right now that I feel good in, that I like, that are available to me right now. So I tried that about 2 months ago, and it was so helpful. I honestly love it. And for work, I try to get my clothes out the night before so that I don't have to think too much in the morning. And I'm often really tired at night. And I quickly pull out this photo album and I have an outfit ready to go in like no time. So it has been a game changer for me. I highly recommend trying it, especially as we are approaching a new season. I think it's just a good time to do it. So put together 20 spring outfits. You can have some for work, some from home, whatever your life looks like, whatever you need on a daily basis, and just help reduce that decision fatigue down the road. Having a decluttered home also truly makes daily routines easier. When every item has its designated place, you're not wasting time hunting things down like your keys, paperwork, kitchen gadgets, and less searching equals less frustration. So again, it's just simplifying, adding a lot of ease to our life. And I just mentioned the kitchen. I think this can also simplify meal prep and cooking. Having a decluttered kitchen with only the essentials, including like spices and things like that. Just have what you need and use often. Helps you make decisions faster. It helps make cooking more enjoyable and just less decision overload when you're planning your meals. I've also become a more savvy shopper, grocery shopper, because I have a much better idea of what it is that I have, what my staples are, how stocked I am, and what meals I could throw together using them. In the past, I sometimes would not remember if I had, like, oh, do I have more flour or whatever it is? And I'd end up with having 2 or 3 of them. Something got shoved behind something else in a cabinet, out of sight, out of mind. You have no clue what you have. So keeping the pantry and the kitchen cleaner, more simplified, more pared down does really help you use what you have and also know what you have. In general, decluttering reduces procrastination as well, because when you have fewer options, fewer decisions, you can make them faster. So it eliminates that time in between. Sometimes it's a lot of time where we're not unsure of what our next move is and whether it's picking an outfit or, deciding what home task to tackle next. Having this decluttered space removes the unnecessary choices so you can focus on what matters and get the things done that you need to, just so that you can go enjoy your life more. And lastly, I do not miss the visual clutter and overwhelm at all. And for me, I think this was the biggest one. I have talked about this before, but clutter really does stress me out. It just does. It's how I operate. And having less of it, having a more streamlined visual in my home, in my kitchen, in my bedroom, just family room, all the living spaces, makes me feel calmer. No more piles of stuff everywhere, making that space feel chaotic and stressful. In general, my home feels lighter, calmer, and more peaceful. It has really cut down on my mental clutter. Having an excess of stuff really creates visual noise. Think of it as noise. It makes it harder to focus and relax. A tidy, minimal space can help your brain. The research shows it truly helps your brain feel at ease instead of overwhelmed by too many choices and distractions. And it really has been a huge benefit to me. I strive to live peacefully. And honestly, out in this big, busy world, that can be really hard. It really is. By having a home that I can come back to each day that is simple, clean, and tidy, consisting of the basics that I need and use on a regular basis, it just helps me to feel better. I have more mental energy and clarity. And instead of feeling drained by constant micro decisions just all the time, you really free up brain power for meaningful choices in your work, in your relationships, to pursue your hobbies, all of it. So those are some things that I really don't miss since decluttering my home and my life. And, I'm not looking back. Like, I love this lifestyle. I am, if anything, becoming more minimal as I get older and as my kids get older. And I just love it. I love it. I feel like it has just added so many positive things to my life. So that's why I love talking about it and sharing it. I hope that this has given you something to think about, some inspiration, especially as we move into the spring. And I would really love to know if you notice a shift in your mental energy, in your life, in your decisions since you've begun decluttering. And I would love to hear from you. You can message me on Instagram or drop me an email, hello@letslowdown.net. I would love to hear from you. And I'd love to hear other ideas for, future podcasts or guests or anything like that. So reach out. Love hearing from all of you. Please consider sharing this episode with a friend or someone that you think might benefit from it. And I will see you next week. I hope you've enjoyed our journey together. Please take a moment to rate and review the show. It really helps us grow and reach others looking to slow down too. Wishing you simplicity and ease in your world. And I'll see you back here next week.